What is going on, guys? Jason Burke here, Styles Clash for Life, coming at you on YouTube, and tonight I've got some football focus. The Pittsburgh Steelers just released their initial 53-man roster. They made their final cuts and got the roster down to 53, and as always, it's been a big hit every year for me to go over the roster, talk about some guys that made it, talk about some guys that were cut, and kind of my impressions on what this final roster looks like. Now, there could still be some deals made. We made 2 trades today that are going to help us big time, solidifying 2 of our weakest positions. Depth-wise, 2 nice veteran trades today that I really like, and there could be some more on the way. So this is not indicative of the opening day roster necessarily, but this is the initial 53. So let me go ahead and bring you guys who's on the team and kind of talk about some people here. So initially, quarterback, there's 3. This is obvious chalk right here. Trubisky, likely going to be the 1. Rookie Kenny Pickett is the number 2. Mason Rudolph still on the roster is number 3. There's been talk that he could be traded to Detroit or somewhere else, but as of right now, he's still on the roster. I think it's the right move. Having Mason there, he's a system guy. I'm not a big fan of his, but he's a good number 3. I think he's been here for a while, so in case there's some kind of catastrophe with injuries, good to have a number 3 on the roster. Obviously, Trubisky and Pickett played their hearts out in preseason. I think it's going to be good for Trubisky to get the start and Pickett be in the wings. So, obvious there. Running backs, 3 made the roster. Najee Harris, Jalen Warren, Benny Snell. That means Anthony McFarland did not make the roster. Master Teague, who was cut early, didn't make the roster. Max Borghi didn't make the roster. Those were kind of obvious. They showed some couple of nice moments in preseason, but they weren't going to make the team. The one that surprises me here, kind of, is Anthony McFarland, because he is still, I think he's in, his 3rd year of his initial deal for Pittsburgh, and he was playing under the offensive coordinator who was his coach at Maryland, and he showed some really nice bursts in the first game. Didn't do much in game 2 or 3, but McFarland did look pretty good in that first game, showed the best burst probably of his career in game 1 of the preseason. But you got a guy like Jalen Warren, who has been spoken about very highly of, the undrafted free agent, did very nicely in camp, had also a very good game 1, and has looked, I think, better in game 2 and 3 than McFarland did. So I'm glad Jalen Warren's on this roster, and he's listed here ahead of Benny Snell. I don't know whether that's going to mean he's number 2 or not. But you have Benny Snell, who's your power guy. He's going to be your kind of your change of pace back. But Jalen Warren, I think, is a nice number 2. I think having Najee be the every down back, and then once in a while Jalen Warren as the speedster can make some guys miss. We've seen him receive the ball out of the backfield. He's one of my personal favorite guys that I hope made the team this offseason. I've been following him since he was the undrafted free agent. Really good to see Jalen Warren here, so I like these 3. I might have preferred to see McFarland over Snell. I think Snell's kind of done what he can do at this point, but it's a good 3 on the roster. Fullback Derek Watt is also here. There was talk whether he can make it or not, but Derek Watt did make it at fullback. I'm glad he's there. I like him. I wish he would get used more. We got to find some packages to use some bigger guys like him and another guy we'll get to, Connor Hayward. I want to see more blocking fullbacks out there that can do more for us in the short yardage and goal line situations. Play Derek Watt a little more. Then we have 7 wide receivers. This was a big surprise. I had us taking 6. I had us picking 6 receivers. We took 7. Deontay Johnson, Chase Claypool, George Pickens, those were the obvious 3. Those were our 3 starters. Those were our 3 best guys. Then we have Gunnar Olszewski, who really surprised me this offseason. I knew what a good returner he was, obviously. He was all-pro for the Patriots. I did not realize what a good wide receiver he could be. He was doing good jet sweeps a lot for the Steelers here in preseason. He was doing really good wide receiving, short yardage catches with his hands, making some guys miss. Got a touchdown for us in one of the games. Really impressed by Olszewski as a wide receiver on this team, and he's obviously got the returner spot / slot receiver, backup slot guy. I like Gunnar this preseason a lot. Calvin Austin makes the roster, thank God. There was talk of is he going to be cut because he didn't play at all, but 4th round pick, super speedster, game breaker, had a great camp. I think he can be a really big X factor for this team. They're going to have a hard enough time trying to cover Claypool in the slot with Pickens on the outside, being a rookie with not much tape on him. But now you're going to add a guy like Calvin Austin who can also do the returns and jet sweeps, and his speed. If he comes in healthy with no chance for the league to get to know him, we could have some really game-breaking plays on offense. So Austin is the 5th receiver here. Miles Boykin is the 6th. He put it together in a very good preseason, coming over in his 4th season, I believe, from Baltimore. Really like what he did. Strong guy, ran some pretty good routes, had strong hands, caught everything thrown his way. I really liked Boykin this preseason. Those were the 6 that I initially had us taking. I did not think we'd take a 7th. We took Steven Sims. I could argue if we were going to take a 7th that Tyler Vaughns could be the guy we take. I like Tyler Vaughns a lot. He had a really good preseason, breaking tackles, making guys miss, showing his length and speed from USC. But Steven Sims also played very good, and you could argue a case for him as well. He is a veteran from the Washington Commodores and I think a few other teams. Played well in Washington, played well this preseason, had a really nice jet sweep play, had a couple nice returns, caught a receiving touchdown. He has been one of the bigger surprises of preseason. So I didn't think he was going to make the team, but he did. On top of Owens being cut, we also let go of Cody White, who's been here for a couple of years, and Tyler Snead as well. So no big surprises there, but I thought Vaughns might be going somewhere. So I want to see if Tyler Vaughns gets signed somewhere. I think he's an untapped potential. I like him a lot. But still, no issues with these 7 guys that were signed. I would have taken 6, but nothing wrong with Sims. I like him too. Tight ends 3, this one's obvious. Pat Fryermuth, your starter. Zach Gentry, your much improved blocker and big project guy who's been catching the ball a little better the past year. I like him. And Connor Hayward, who's been pretty solid. Wasn't sure about the draft pick when we first got him. I like his attitude, but I wasn't sure where he was going to fit. He's been a nice tight end for us. Still needs to block a little more consistently, but has shown good hands, has shown pretty good route running and deceptive speed for a guy of his strength. He's got a brother on the team. He's a Steeler type of guy. I like him being here at the 3rd tight end. And I wouldn't mind seeing us run some 2 tight end sets where we're going to be on passing downs. And some 3 tight end sets where we're going to be in some blocking downs with Gentry in there as well. So 3 good tight ends. I like this group a lot. Offensive linemen, there are 8 guys total. Listed here on SteelersDepot.com. Thank you, Alex Kazora. Good YouTuber as well. 3 tackles. We got Dan Moore, Chuks Okorafor, and Jesse Davis. Jesse Davis was traded for. He was I think a 4-year Miami Dolphin. Played, I think he went over to the Vikings this past offseason for a 1-year deal. We got him for, I think, a conditional 7th round pick in like 2025. So a conditional last round pick 2 years from now to sign an interior offensive lineman who can play both tackle and guard. That's going to help. He's a veteran. He started a lot of games. He looks like an athlete. He's got some NFL experience, and we got him for next to nothing. So very good trade there. He's going to make our tackles better because Dan Moore and Chuks were our 2 weakest linemen this preseason. So he's going to make our tackles better and our guards better. I think I want to see him in the rotation a little bit and see what he can do. Very good trade there. We also got 5 other interior offensive linemen: Mason Cole, James Daniels, Kevin Dotson, Kendrick Green, and J.C. Asenauer. The only surprise here was, are we going to keep 7 or 8? Or are they going to keep Kendrick Green or not? It looks like he's done just enough. He didn't look good last year at center, and he has not looked good so far at guard in the preseason. But he does have a big, strong form, and he has blocked well on the run for us. When he pulls and blocks on the run, he's a big, strong, physical guy. But when he's stationary, he's not looked very good. So it's going to be interesting to see what he can do playing this year if he gets in at all, because he has not shown propensity for either position right now. So he made the team. He's a young guy in his 2nd year. He's got potential. We'll see what he can do. Defense, there are 7 total defensive linemen kept. This was going to be interesting between 6 or 7. We kept Cam Hayward, Larry Ogunjobi, DeMarvin Leal, Chris Wormley, Isaiah Loudermilk, and 2 interior nose tackles, Tyson Alualu and Montravius Adams. Adams was a question for me. He had not played at all this preseason. He's been banged up. He did get re-signed to a 1 or 2 year deal this offseason. Played pretty good last year in sub-duty. So he is there backing up Tyson Alualu inside. Obviously, Loudermilk played really good last year. Wormley had 8 sacks last year. DeMarvin Leal looked really good this preseason as our rookie. Ogunjobi is our big free agent. Cam is our stud. So I like these 7 guys. They've all got a ton of potential. They are our best 7. We did let go of Khalil and Carlos Davis. Again, good system guys, good practice squad guys, but didn't show us enough. And also we let go of, who's the guy with the hair that always, Henry Mondo. He also got let go. He's probably going to be a practice squad guy, as he usually is for the Steelers, and may come in at some point if there are injuries. But I like this 7 the best, and this was the best possible roster for our defensive linemen. Edge rushers, outside linebackers, we got TJ Watt, Alex Highsmith, Derek Tuska, and Malik Reed. Malik Reed is another trade today made by the GM. Excellent, 2 excellent trades. Malik Reed is I think a 4-year veteran from the Denver Broncos. Has started 26 games in the last 2 seasons, so he's been consistently on the field. He's gotten several sacks and forced fumbles, including against us last year. Looked pretty solid last year, getting some turnovers and playing with high energy. He's going to be a nice number 3 for us, /4 with Tuska. After letting go of the offseason signing from the Ravens, I was really surprised to see the cut we had made. I'm sorry, from the Cleveland Browns. The cut we had made. Wasn't a fan of cutting that guy, so good to get another veteran back there. This was a spot we desperately needed depth, and I did not think that Delonte Scott was good enough. So they cut Scott and traded for Malik Reed. Also, I think for like a 6th or 7th round pick. He was not traded for very much. So to get a late round trade consideration for a veteran backup who started for a while and gotten some sacks in the league, that's going to help us a lot. Very good trade. Inside linebackers, there were 4 kept. This one was going to be another point of contention. We got Miles Jack, Devin Bush, Robert Spillane, and Mark Robinson. Mark Robinson has played pretty solidly. He's been one of the big surprises on defense of the preseason. I thought he was undersized and not physical enough when we drafted him. I wasn't really a fan of the draft pick. He's played very physically in preseason. Really big in the run game, hard hitter, making some really nice tackles. Still needs to get better in coverage, but so do all of these inside linebackers, minus Miles Jack, who's played very well. We did not keep Marcus Allen, who's been a veteran on the team, play special teams, so that was kind of a surprising cut, but he's been injured and on the fringe for a while now, and we also let go of Buddy Johnson. I had said in my last review that I thought that Mark Robinson outplayed Allen and Johnson especially, and I think that this makes sense. Buddy Johnson was another late-round inside linebacker who has a lot of speed and who's a hard hitter, but I think Mark Robinson showed more in this preseason than Buddy Johnson has in the last 2. So I was a big fan of the Buddy Johnson pick coming out, and I was not big on Mark Robinson this year. Mark Robinson has done more in these last 3 games than Buddy's done so far in his entire brief Steeler career. So as much as I'm sad about losing Buddy Johnson, it's the right move. We have the 4 best guys on our roster today. 5 corners overall were kept. Akilla Weatherspoon, Cam Sutton, Levi Wallace, James Pierre, and Arthur Mallette. That means the end of Justin Lane. No big surprise there. He was at the end of his rope here. Pierre was kind of on the bubble as well. Wasn't sure if they'd keep him over a couple of the fringe guys that were on the roster. Sutton and Mallette are our 2 kind of nickel inside corners, which are very solid. Weatherspoon, Pierre, and Wallace. Weatherspoon and Wallace are our starters. Pierre's the backup. I think Pierre's on his way out next season if he doesn't show more, but I think these 5 are the best 5 for the roster right now. Safeties, there are 5. This was another one to look at. Minka Fitzpatrick, Terrell Edmonds, Trey Norwood, DeMonte KZ, and Miles Killebrew. This was going to be interesting because the guy we signed a couple days ago played pretty well, but he is gone now. I forget his name offhand. I apologize. Riley was his name. He was cut. Joseph obviously was cut after he got injured for the season. Really a shame to see the Raiders veteran Carl Joseph cut because he has a lot of potential. And then DeMonte KZ, who once led the league in interceptions, played well for Atlanta and Dallas for several years. He's been hurt now and is going to wind up being on the IR. But in order to come back later in the season, he had to make the roster here. So I wouldn't be surprised if he goes on the IR for a while and somebody else comes in. But him making the roster is a very good thing because he is a very talented veteran who can play as a backup corner or safety in any kind of dime quarter packages. I really want to see him play with our starters. Norwood obviously has been super underrated, and Killebrew, who has not played much, is a very solid tackler and special teamer for the team. So I think those are our best 5 safeties. Specialists, obviously, kicker Boswell, Presley Harvin punter, long snapper Christian Kuntz. That is not a big surprise. So no real surprises on this roster. A couple of inside linebackers cut that might have stayed. A couple of safeties had to be cut that might have stayed. And obviously keeping an extra wide receiver surprised me. But overall, I have no problems with the guys they kept and cut on this roster. We didn't lose anybody here that I think we should have kept. The only cut all preseason we made that I didn't like was the Browns outside linebacker that we cut. Wasn't a fan of that move before Game 3. But of these cuts, I'm totally fine with all of them. Every single person on this roster has shown me enough reason to be here. So this is one of the best opening 53 rosters that I've seen from the Steelers in a while. And as long as our offensive line can hold up, And as long as our D-line gets the pressure we're supposed to get once our starters play, I think we're going to be in good shape. So what do you guys think? Anything that surprised you? Anyone that should have been cut? Anybody that was cut that should have been kept, in your opinion? Tell me in the comments down below. Please like, share, and subscribe if you like these videos. Stay tuned for more roster breakdowns heading into the season and the opening game review coming up as the Steelers play the Bengals in Week 1. So please follow along, and I will see you guys soon.